Good, thank you.
All right, so we are going to talk about the call for inputs for the draft policy on the CSO GRN Partnership Policy for Engagement 2024 to 2027. All right, Miss Christine, please talk to us about the revision of the old policy as well as the results for the new draft policy.
Okay, when we talk about the policy and the policy draft, we are talking about a new policy that should guide the collaboration and the partnership and the engagement between civil society and the government of Namibia. And we, as a technical assistance project of the government of Namibia, funded by the European Union, were actually tasked in 2022 to revise the old policy, which resulted actually in the fact that the old policy was never really used. And so we didn't stop there, but we started drafting a new policy, and we went out for workshops. We had a workshop in Windhoek, we had workshops in different regions of the country, not all of them, because we had limited funds. But we came up together with the National Planning Commission with a draft of the new policy that reflected the spirit of the old policy, because the old policy was still in large parts considered to be good. So this draft was actually presented in a big workshop in Windhoek with online participation, and we had about, all in all, 80 to 90 people/organizations there. And the new policy is now actually focused on two main objectives, and I find this as very important. The first objective is all about partnership. So how can civil society and government partner in a sense that we can really talk about a partnership? And the other objective is about enabling environment. And we have heard a lot from civil society that there is fear of clamping down the civic space, that civil society organizations have to re-register in other African countries, that the democratic space is shrinking, by the way, not only in Africa, also in Europe. And the policy really emphasizes, this new policy draft, that actually there must be a guarantee of the government to maintain and even enhance and enlarge the space where civil society can thrive and act. And this draft is now actually available for the public. And yes.
So, what is the importance of the comments to the draft policy?
Okay, so with this project and the limited funds, we really tried very hard to be as inclusive as possible regarding the voice of civil society, but also local authority and regional authority, because the policy, once implemented, will also take place, or will take place, bottom up. So on the grassroots level, and local and regional authorities are very important. So as I said, as much as we try to be inclusive, there is unfortunately no comprehensive database for civil society in this country, so it's very hard to reach everybody. And therefore, and that is not unique to this policy draft, but therefore the government has opened a window for public input to the draft policy. And it is important because we want to make sure that people know about the policy and see their opinions reflected to an extent possible.
Okay. In terms of the work as well as the policy, what do the timelines look like?
Okay, so the draft was shared widely on WhatsApp groups and all kinds of media sources and in the newspaper. And the comments to the draft should please be sent to the National Planning Commission by the 21st of June. So that leaves us with 10 days, and we make this video especially for those who were not part of, couldn't read the newspaper or were not in the emails or in the WhatsApp groups we shared the draft with. So please send your comments to these email address from the National Planning Commission. I hope you can see it. And you can also, if you want to, put us in copy, because we're going to facilitate the final policy. And yes, 21st of June. And if you want to download the draft, which you probably want, and you didn't see the link in the newspaper, then you can go to the website of the National Planning Commission, and there is the draft for you to download. And then the next step will be that in July, the policy will be finalized with as many reflections of your comments as possible, and then it will go to Cabinet, then it will be launched by the National Planning Commission, and after the launch, the implementation will start, and that is foreseen, but I cannot make any promises on behalf of the government, but that is all foreseen by latest end of the year. So, and then the implementation starts, and then the communication about this policy starts, which is going to be a great challenge to make sure that as many people as possible in this country know about the policy and will be included in its implementation.